I absolutely love the Expanse universe, and we're incredibly lucky that we're getting more Expanse, because a new game is coming from Owlcat Games. And what we have seen so far is freaking good. Do you know how much I love the Expanse? I even have a tattoo on my ass. Hello my delicious French fries. Today I want to take you through everything we know so far about the Expanse game Osiris Reborn. From the first reveal to the developers' interviews, today we are going through it all. It's a lot to talk about, my potato friends, so here we go. The first public reveal, the announcement, was at the Summer Game Fest. Owlcat revealed the Expanse Osiris Reborn with an announcement trailer during the Future Game Show. The first footage already showed a third-person action RPG set in the universe of course, the Expanse. Along with the general premise, you're part of Pinkwater Security stranded on Eros, trying to survive. The trailer immediately gives a good impression of what the game is going to be. A cover-based, third-person single-player adventure built in a beautiful Unreal Engine 5. We immediately see a lot of connections to the Expanse, but the Mass Effect inspiration is also very clear. It looks like a very mature game, which makes fans like me extremely happy because the Expanse was never a show for pussies. There are no hints yet about the original crew of the Rocinante, but we do see a frigate crewed by mercenaries. Pinkwater Security mercenaries, to be precise. We also got a few glimpses of the proto-molecule. Unfortunately, the trailer didn't show a release date yet, but this reveal came as a big surprise to many people. And many potatoes. One of the best surprises I could ask for. Shortly after the trailer, the official store pages went live, including the Steam page. Here we get the official summary of the game. The Expanse Osiris Reborn is a third-person action RPG set in the Expanse universe. You're no hero, just a merc caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, trying to hold your crew together and keep the ship up and running. Your choices will shape your story. The game also appeared on IGDB, where you can see the platforms, and of course the official website, where you can find all the information about the game. But more importantly, Owlcat also launched their founder program. By choosing one of the pre-order tiers, you become a founder and receive different rewards. And yes, there's even a sick collector's edition. Cool thing about becoming a founder is that you support the game and Owlcat directly, and you get access to the beta, which I absolutely cannot wait for. But Owlcat is so cool that if you become a founder, they will actually put your name in the game's credits. Normally I'm not a big fan of pre-ordering, but for the Expanse, I will gladly make an exception. Holy potato! Pretty quickly we saw Owlcat collaborating with streamers and content creators, giving them developer interviews and Q&A sessions about the game. These interviews gave us more information about the development, the story, the characters, and the game systems. Besides those YouTube interviews, there were also interviews with big outlets like Polygon, IGN, and WCCF Tech. I'll put the links to those interviews in the description. In the WCCF Tech interview, Owlcat revealed that development actually started in 2021. Alexander Michelin said, "The development started in 2021. We spent almost a year doing prototypes, transitioning between the genres because the game we're making is not quite similar to the games we have done previously." That actually is really good news and honestly a bit of a relief. It shows that Owlcat is putting a lot of time and effort into preparing the game. Not just because it's their first attempt at a third-person RPG, but also because this IP truly deserves that level of care. If they want to even come close to the quality of the books and the TV series, they really have to give it everything they got and refuse to settle for anything less. Another interesting question in that same interview was whether Owlcat always wanted to make a third-person action RPG, since the studio previously focused mainly on CRPGs. Alexander Michelin said, "No, from the first page it was all about making a third-person game, because the Expanse is about people. We wanted to show you that, and for that we needed to change perspective and make things more realistic and cinematic." And that last part is actually really important. It is crucial that we get a cinematic spectacle with this game. It has to go hand in hand with the incredible visual style we know from the TV show. And that is exactly why I'm really happy that this is a third-person adventure. Because let's be honest, if you're making a game in the Expanse universe, you want to see it, you want to feel it. The ships, the stations, the scale of space, all of it. And third person is the perfect way to do that. In an IGN interview, we also learn more about character creation and leading your crew. Like in Mass Effect, in the Expanse Osiris Reborn, you get to create your own captain, play as an Earther, Martian or Belter, and lead a crew. You bring 2 companions into combat while others support from behind the scenes. Creating your own character is always great, but in an RPG it's an absolute must. I'm really hoping for a deep and mature character creator with plenty of options to choose from. Maybe even a potato skin. The fact that you can choose between being a Belter, Earther or Martian is especially interesting. That immediately hints at a unique origin story for each of them. And that choice shouldn't just be cosmetic, it should actually matter throughout the rest of the game. Because in the Expanse universe, where you come from defines who you are. The interview also clarified whether the game only takes place in the same universe in general, or if it also happens during the time of the Rocinante crew. The Expanse fans will be pleased to know you get to visit familiar locations from the show and books, such as Ganymede, Ceres, Mars and Luna. Timeline-wise, the Expanse Osiris Reborn is set during the first 2.5 seasons of the show or the first 2 books. The events of the game occur alongside the major events that transpire across the universe in the Expanse TV show and the books during that time. So the story actually takes place parallel to the story of the Rocinante crew, and honestly that is pure fan service, because it means that the developers can include a lot of recognizable moments from the universe into the game. And events we know from the series, things happening in the background while your own story unfolds. And it could even mean that you might run into some familiar faces along the way, which would be awesome. There was also a fantastic interview during the New Game Showcase podcast, where Leonid and Yulia talked about the plot, characters, classes, companions, preparation, the combat system and so much more. I'll put a link in the description. If you're interested in this game, you should definitely watch that interview. It is really great. At the end of August, we received another trailer, this time focusing on the game environments. This was an important one because it shows whether the atmosphere matches the TV series. And honestly, The Expanse is unmatched when it comes to sci-fi world building. Here we see several iconic locations from the series. Command centers of large spaceships where you walk around as a Pinkwater mercenary, the famous domes of Ganymede, the grey and gritty alleyways and bars of Ceres. Here you can see OPA members protesting in the cyberpunk-like aesthetic of Ceres. And I love these narrow corridors where you move through with your crew. And remember, doors and corridors, kid. That's where they get you. In November, we got a developer diary that gave us more insight into what it's like to be an astronaut. Now, I personally already know what that's like, because I was the first potato on the moon. But I understand they also wanted to explain it to normal humans. Owlcat even consulted former astronaut Leroy Chow to better understand life in space, how spacewalks work, how weapons behave in space, and how sound, vibration and impact will realistically function in combat. In real life, astronauts use tethers, but in the Expanse, they of course use the mag boots to stay attached to surfaces. It is really worth mentioning how committed Owlcat is to staying true to the realism of the Expanse. It's science fiction, but it's not fantasy. They are also focusing on a lot of small details. Your ship, where you spend a lot of your time with your crew, should feel like your home. Even small things like the menu of food your Pinkwater mercenary eats are designed around what could actually realistically be grown in space. And it's exactly those little details that make a game feel immersive. So, little potatoes, there's a lot we already know about this fantastic game. I'm a super fan potato, but I'm trying to keep my excitement under control. Because nothing is worse than getting disappointed. And that has happened far too often in the gaming industry over the past decade. But I do have a lot of trust in Owlcat. The Expanse has a very loyal fan base, and you really can't afford to mess that up. The books, the TV show, and even the Telltale game were all top notch, so the pressure is definitely on Owlcat. About that same amount of pressure that I'm currently feeling in my underwear because I really need to poop, so let's wrap this up. What we still need to know about this game: when will the beta start? And when will the game release? The moment we know, you'll hear it right here. So make sure you like this video to help the algorithm and subscribe so you don't miss anything about the Expanse or Osiris Reborn. From one potato to another, stay strong.